Right.
All right. Well, good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for another weekly edition of our real estate backstory, where we kind of pull back and expose the soft underbelly of real estate. We try and show about what's going on, comings, goings, things happening in the real estate market here in the Atlanta area. My name is Alan Richardson. I'm the managing broker at Maximum One Realty and Realtor Partners.
And my name is Bing Richardson, I'm the compliance broker for Maximum One Realty and Realtor Partners.
So we kind of want to start off about making sure that we're setting the appropriate expectation for our home buyers today. There's kind of some old school thinking that we really need to kind of move away from. And so I'm going to kind of represent the old school.
I'm the new school.
Well, I'm older, more mature, more sincere.
What you call it?
I don't know. Yeah, we're not going to go there. So the first rule here, or the first old school thing, is first you should find your home, then you should go get a mortgage.
Finalize your paperwork.
Yeah.
Well, the new rule is lock in your mortgage rate, get your stuff done, and get pre-approved before you even start your search.
Yeah, if you don't get like getting those mortgage rates locked in now, they're only going up. So it's really, really important kind of thing. The next old rule is that you should only shop for homes that you can afford.
So the new rules, due to shortage of inventory, you can only shop for a home price below what you can afford, because we all know first time starter home anywhere from, well, nothing right now, there's non-existent of 200 move-in ready. So anywhere from 200 to about 280, I can tell you right now that most 9 out of 10, they're going to have multiple offers.
Well, and as interest rates rise, their buying power lowers. And so,
absolutely.
They've got to be looking, they have to be very realistic about what they're looking for. So the next old school here is that first you tour a property, then you take a day or two to kind of think about it.
So one of my agents told me a while back, Miss Letty Hill, she said, if you sleep on it, you might not sleep in it. So what that means, if you love the property, please act fast. Don't wait.
Yep. Now, the old rule here was that you should offer below asking price and then wait for the seller to counter.
Oh, please don't, because you're just spinning your wheel at this time. Please put your biggest number that your buyer is comfortable with and from the start, because I can tell you, if you put a number in there that where listing agent won't even look at, because you're 20,000 below everybody else's offer.
All right. And then the old, kind of old school was expect to buy a home after submitting 1, maybe 2 offers.
Try about 20.
Well, hopefully not 20. And actually the number is not that high. It is
during this past summer.
It depends.
It was during this past summer.
Depends on the value, price point, that kind of stuff.
Now a lot of buyers agent has learned how to use certain special stipulation to avoid making 20 offers.
Yep.
Okay.
We had a question posed by Ms. Rosser. And so she shot a question over to us and said, "Hey, I got a great topic for you guys to address it on the backstory, and I'd love for you to kind of speak about it and kind of thing." So she said that, on a lot of the offers that she's placing and a lot of the homes that she's showing buyers to, that the sellers are requesting that the tenant or the sellers can stay there for between 30 and 60, 90 days. And so, first question she wants to know, and I'm going to let you kind of jump in here, is it will the temporary occupancy F219 protect the buyer? Does a lease need to be put in place? What forms should we use out there? Is there any special steps?
F219. It does create a landlord-tenant relationship. But what it does is that it forgoes the eviction process as far as timeline. So if your seller is staying for a certain duration of time, if they don't move out on F219 under the section where the seller pays the holdover rate, I will recommend you make it really hurt, because if you put $100, let me tell you something, it's cheaper than staying at a hotel right now per night. So I would put $250 a day. Just make sure the seller gets out of there. Okay. And just want you to know, as most 9 out of 10, we don't have issue with seller, but if you're a buyer's agent and you feel like this file has gone rocky throughout the entire process, you may want to put an escrow on the seller prior to closing. And simply because, and I wouldn't do this during your offer period, but I do it with our due diligence if you feel that is needed. Because what happened if a seller left a house look like somebody just vacated, like a eviction? All the dust bunny behind the furniture is there. The carpet is not even
Yeah, and that's
clean
not
and stuff like
normally a
that.
problem, but you
Or
know, sometimes.
but sometimes you may have a issue that needs to be addressed that seller couldn't get it fixed due to whatever the reason is. If that's the case, please consult your broker about a special step that will withhold some escrow from the seller so your buyer's protected.
Now, a lot of our lenders also will not let you lease back or give away.
Temporary occupancy no more than 60 days.
Yeah.
Anything more than that will be considered mortgage fraud. But if it's a cash buyer, it's not a problem.
Yeah.
But if this is subject to loan, you cannot do it more than 60 days. So I hope Ms. Rosser will have answered your question.
Yeah.
Thank you for the comments. We
And
love it.
Yeah, we appreciate it. All right. So if you were kind of watching the news this week, so the Fed chair, Jerome Powell, he's the head honcho over the Fed.
Mhm.
And so, you know, he was on an interview this week, and I kind of just want to share that. And then, you know, he's like, housing prices are surging because of demand, that
Mhm.
property values are not inflationary. And I thought that was a very interesting take because houses are assets.
Correct.
Now, rents are inflationary. And so rents are going to drive inflation, but those rents are based on property value. So it is kind of there is a relationship there. See, it's the demand that we have for housing. It's supply versus demand. And we'll share some numbers with you here in a minute. But, you know, the other thing here is that supply right now is being held hostage by the availability of land, labor, you know, rising wages,
and building material.
Yeah.
I mean, lumber, you know, came back down toward the end of the year, but now it has surged back up again.
Yeah, because if you kind of watch what's going on, all the markets are kind of it's basically a roller coaster. And so like if you're out there in the markets, you're basically a gambler right now. You no one seems to know what it's doing, going up or down kind of thing. And does that have the potential to move into real estate? Long term, it could, but gosh, you know, for the next few months, no, because we're heavily driven by supply versus demand. But that being said, I kind of wanted to share with you, you know,
what public opinion is right now.
Right. And so, you know, there was a recent study out, and so they said, hey, do you think there's a current bubble in housing prices? And 3 out of 4 buyers and sellers, 77% said yes. Now, here's the other startling thing. 44% of real estate agents, realtors said yes. Okay. And so
it's not,
well, you know, buyers say yes, experts say no. And so I'm not trying to say that I'm an expert, but, you know, overall, a lot of the talking heads are are on the same page with us in that, you know, we have a lot of things going on right now. And I know that whole adage of what goes up must come down, but being very realistic about it, you know, we have way more demand than we have supply for. We have the millennials moving into the first time buyer age, and they're eager to own homes.
Along with Gen Z, who is buying at younger age, moving in, along with baby boomer downsizing. So there's multiple, I promise you, multiple factors, not just one. And a lot of times our clients hear a little snippet of something and take that little snippet and treat it as a doctrine when it's not. And that's what's going on in the market. And there's a lot of chatter out there.
There is, but you know, by the same token, we are still seeing like you know, moving into, you know, so we're just starting to get all the numbers together for January. And so you know, and January came in as the hottest January on record, like ever, kind of thing. So but let's kind of look at what does that really mean. And so
let's look at the graph.
Yeah. So overall, the median sales price is up 14.4% year over year, which was up 16% last year and 14% again the year before. So you can see that you know, we're still seeing rising prices. Now, as interest rates go up, and they're going to go up,
the price will
price will start leveling off. We're not going to keep seeing 14% increases, but we're not going to see a drop. The Fed, as we were talking earlier, is very in tune and wants to make sure that they don't do what happened in the 80s. And that's when they jacked up rates and they really caused a crash at that point. Now,
also back in 80, interest rate was 17%.
But that's all the same kind of thing. Inflation was outrageous, like similar to how it is now. So the median asking price is 13% year over year. And so that's for the 4-week rolling average through January. Pending sales, however, is down 1%. And so this is our first drop in pending sales in like 3 years, 2.5 years, basically. So pending sales, other than when we first shut down, but since we shut down at the very beginning of the pandemic, pending sales have been up over last year every single month. This is our first one. Now, is a 1% a big drop? No, but we're already going to start seeing things. That pending sales is what's going to lead us into having a little bit more inventory, having a little bit less demand, kind of moving forward as we go through the upcoming months. That being said, look at the active listings of homes right now. We are down 29% year over year.
That's huge, y'all. So
which
are
was
we in a bubble?
Yeah, which was down about 30% last year. So we're down almost 50% from where we were in 2020.
Prior pandemic.
And so, do I know that this is going to start leveling off? Absolutely. And will everyone lose their mind when that happens?
Yes.
For sure. But we're still in really, really good shape there. Homes are selling on an average of 28 days, which you can see is still lower than 21. Lower than 20.
We have actually dictated with a mortgage company how underwriting is doing right now, simply because nobody is doing pre-qualification letter anymore. Everybody's doing pre-approval before they even step their foot into look at a house.
Well, you have to. So CoreLogic shared the new numbers for 2021, and we had record growth year over year. And this is not a surprise to anyone, but here's one of the things I found very interesting that I think you kind of have to realize is that, especially in past surges, what we saw was certain price points really erupted. But if you look at our lower price point, saw a price increase of 20%. Middle to moderate 19.4, low to middle 19.2, high end 19%,
which is huge.
But this was across the board. This was not it's all the first time buyers, it's all the move up buyers. Look, it's kind of we've seen that kind of running across the board. Now at the same time, that kind of leads us into we're seeing a lot more housing wealth moving in. And so this is setting records, of course, for our buyers and our sellers right now. About 42% of homeowners are considered equity rich, as of the end of last year, which means that they've got over 20% equity in their homes. So one thing I would really encourage you to do is to reach out to everybody you've sold a home to in the last year and a half, couple of years kind of thing.
And I know traditionally people like to stay in their home for at least 5 to 6 years, 7 years before they even entertain selling. But now, because everybody's equity rich, they might consider doing something else temporarily and sell their property.
Well, there's that, but then, can they also get rid of mortgage insurance? And, if they got a FHA mortgage and, we're seeing where there's actually an uptick in refis right now, just because folks are trying to get the last of the refis out. And the way FHA mortgages are, you can't get rid of.
You can't have PMI.
Mortgage insurance on an FHA loan ever.
Yeah.
So if you are going to refi a FHA mortgage, probably now is about your best chance to do that moving forward. So speaking of which, we didn't see any movement last week. So the overall rate came in at a 3.55. Now that's not necessarily always the end all be all on actually where rates came in. The average contract interest rate last week came in at a 3.78.
Right.
But mortgage applications to purchase a home increased 4% for the week. They're 7% lower than last year, but refis jumped by 18%. And that's what we mean by now might be a really good time. But one thing I love Ming's approach here is, hey, while you're talking to them, maybe they're ready to sell, right? So,
Have a conversation actually with your
Yeah.
client and say, hey, even call and say, hey, I know you got an FHA loan when you first purchased it. Do you realize your home now has 1% equity? You might want to reconsider spending $5,000 to save you on the average $200, $250. You get that back within a year, year and a half, depending on what their mortgage rate is.
So a new study came out where they said, hey, who's the groups, different ages of the groups of folks that are most likely to sell? And what we found very interesting is that property owners in, under 30 are more likely to sell and refi, because, if you'll look at, basically once you get over 30, all the percentages are actually pretty close, except for refinance. And that's because a lot of our older homeowners have already refied kind of thing. But our younger homeowners, they haven't refinanced. They may still have an FHA loan, things like that. So if you are reaching out, reach out to our younger homeowners, because they are the most likely. And then again, they're also the most likely to refinance on their property. So that's a great reach out or outreach, if I can kind of say that.
It's a good conversation topic.
Yep.
So
I found this to be just a bizarre stat, and actually it's very true. 1/3 of the homes in the United States for sale are new construction. Now, I don't say that because new construction is blowing up. If anything, it's leveling off.
They're leveling off because they're having issue with supply, not because the availability to a certain extent, but the fact that material and labor are hard for them to predict.
Well, but to me, this is not as indicative about what's going on with new construction as it is what's happening with the resale market, right? When 1/3 of our homes are new construction, guess what? That's the only place where we have a lot of inventory coming into the market. When I say a lot, that's where the most inventory coming in the market. And we can see that days on market is down, availability is down, that kind of stuff. So you kind of got to look at this realistically as well. So if you are representing buyers, should we probably be looking at new construction with them more often, because that's where a lot of our inventory is. The other thing that comes with that is really explaining the new construction process. A lot of our builders are behind, and even if they give you a date, it's going to be
expected. Most should build a contractor, so have a 2-year building period.
Let's hope it doesn't hit that. But
well, not that we want to wait, but this is what's happening, and a lot of buyers are counting on moving to the school district before the school year starts. So just let your client know that while that's hopeful, it may not materialize.
So condo construction is at near historic lows. So you can kind of see what's going on with multifamily and basically condos and townhomes here. And so it's really, really low. And this is one of those places where we're heavily encouraging builders to build more. Condos, townhomes are a great opportunity for our younger first-time buyers. It fits their lifestyle. Back when we bought our first home, that little 3.5 ranch kind of thing. Well, guess what? Those aren't out there right now. And so we need a lot of these, because, this is what we're going to need to keep home ownership moving forward in a positive direction. Home Advisor did a survey and said, what are the biggest home buying deal breakers? And so according to their survey, the first exterior, outside, loose bricks, bad siding, and really, is that any surprise if you think about it? Because really what we're saying is curb appeal, right? Like when you pull up.
Well, I can tell you, during COVID time, everybody had fabulous curb appeal. So there's no reason why we don't have it, other than if the house looked the way it does on the outside, it's going to reflect the inside.
Next thing is weatherproofing issues kind of thing. Anytime you got water intrusion, that kind of stuff, any of that really matters. If it just looks like an REO property, it's got a ton of repairs that needs it, then, if it looks like it needs a lot of repairs, it's going to need a lot of repairs. And so that's a big one. Foundation issues, cracked walls, sloppy remodeling work. Boy, we've seen that, especially with some of the iBuyers kind of thing, which has been one of those their issues. What matters most to our home buyers? I mean, price. I think that's always going to be the
Well, that's gonna
biggie,
be
right? That's
the
kind of a
huge,
given,
right? Well, because you just can't buy more than you can afford. Not only that, you're gonna be house poor.
Yep. After that, they want, and we are seeing a trend towards bigger homes. People want
Mhm.
bigger homes, updated kitchens, outdoor space, a big deal, storage space, bedroom space, bathrooms. Also, pets are on this list normally. I want to talk about race, but not in a negative way, and we don't want to get political with it, but we do need to make sure that we are looking wisely about what the future holds here, kind of thing. The population numbers from the census came in, and some of the really interesting things is that kind of what we've been predicting for years. The percentage of white folks in the US is going down, and the percentage of everything else is going up. And so Asian Americans experience the biggest population gains, 36%, 23 Hispanic, 6% for African Americans. And so at the same
Caucasian are
time,
dropping by 9%.
yeah. And so, but one of the other things that was very interesting in here is that while white only people, as far as a percentage of the population dropped, for white plus something, white in combination with another race was massive, 316% population surge. And so we are seeing a real what I feel like is a generational shift. There was
Listen,
a
Americans
lot of
become
folks were
more.
very self-segregating and things like that in the past, and we're just seeing where that is kind of moving away.
Well, if you look at businesses and as well as what's changing around you, there's more melting pot, there's more diversity. All I ask is that for you guys to open up to the diversity, because you might find something that you love
We have
about
to embrace
certain
diversity.
diversity.
We
And
absolutely have to embrace it.
honestly, you're gonna miss out the opportunity to learn something new and something wonderful. When you are not willing to reach out.
Yeah. So now along those lines, there's a new program out that's looking to add 3 million African American homeowners, kind of thing. And so, since the pandemic, African American homeownership rates are lower than it was in 1970. It's based on a percentage of the population. It's lower, and so that's a really big deal when you look at especially on the history, whether you're talking about redlining and that kind of stuff with the African American population. So I'm glad that the Black Homeownership Cooperative is putting out some initiatives, but listen, guys, we're on the front lines. Like this is this is not about. I don't need a program, is what I'm saying. Like we should be educating. We really need to be educating our buyers, and it's not just about African Americans, but it is like wealth in the United States is tied to home ownership. If you bought a home last year, gosh, I mean, last year was not normal, but you probably grew about $50,000 in equity in your home last year. If you rented a home last year, your equity growth is zero, and it will continue. Actually, it's probably less because the rents have gone through the roof. So, home ownership is the path for wealth building in the United States. We have a responsibility to help people buy homes. It's important that we do that. Now, if you've seen crypto, and there's everything's crypto, NFTs, yada yada yada. There's all these big these crypto billionaires and millionaires kind of people out there, and they are hitting our luxury real estate market. But what about like down here at our level? Like are we buying crypto, or is crypto really going on?
There's a huge push for it, but I think because crypto is so cyber based that there's no faith where even though US dollars is based on gold standard, we all understand there's not enough gold in the world for all the money that we printed out.
Yeah,
but
it's based on the faith of the US government.
Correct.
So, but here's the deal. Like if you have a buyer, like I want to buy with crypto. See, it really comes down to the seller. It's because it's what's the seller going to take, and then the other challenge. And so the thing is that because there is like a bazillion
No.
types of cryptocurrency out there.
Right. There's
You
no
know,
regulation.
well, it's not just there's no regulation. First, you have the seller has to be agreeable to buying that through that cryptocurrency, and then
The
you have
medium of exchange.
and then you have to have that exchange rate and as well as the exchange time, because you have to say we're going to buy this home based on the prices on this day. And otherwise, as a seller, I'm not going to wait and see if I get less money for my home, kind of thing. So we are seeing some of that going on. It is a really small percentage of our, I would say, quote unquote, normal real estate market. It is more than we've ever seen, but it's definitely like 0.002 kind of thing. So it's not out there, but it is there.
It is. There are some, just like someone bought a cyber real estate for
I don't understand that at all.
$10,000. So
yeah.
For us, I mean, less, the mass
Yeah.
agrees to that cyberspace, and
Yeah.
you're talking about huge population believing it.
Yeah.
That's going to be hard to take off.
Yeah. Now you may see some information that iBuyer market share has soared in 2021. And it did, okay, because you can see how, of course, when the pandemic hit, they all stopped buying that kind of stuff. But gosh, it looks like the iBuyers are really moving heavy into our market, right? And we know that they're here, but let's face it, they take up a lot of oxygen. We talk about them a whole lot, but in reality, what's their market share? The iBuyers market share nationally is 1.3%. In any, a combination of all the markets that they're in, they're at 1.3%. So we're not talking about massive market share,
And honestly, iBuyers, they're in there to make a profit. They're not there to do your clients any favor.
Yep.
And at this point, if you are represent sellers, unless you're just back in a corner, typically you're looking at average 25 to even higher 60,000 or 100,000 discount on your home when the iBuyers are purchasing a cash as is, no inspection.
Depends on the iBuyer, but
yeah, there's a lot of iBuyers out there. So
they did a big survey of interior decorators, exterior decorators, that kind of stuff. And so, we shared with you guys, I don't know, 3 or 4 weeks ago, like the best paint colors coming from all the paint companies. All the paint companies came out, and basically it's all greens this year. The color for 2022 is green.
Seafoam.
Right. Yes. I don't even know what seafoam is, but by the same token, they went out and said, hey, designers, interior people, that kind of stuff, what interior colors do you recommend? Guess what? 81% of them recommended
white and cream.
Whites and creams, warm neutrals after that. So, everyone might be talking about that, but when it really comes to selling your home on the inside, whites and creams, warm neutral tones.
They go with any furnishing. You have all various type of furnishing colors.
And then after that, you come into the outside. Guess what? One on the outside as well.
White and off-white.
White and off-white. Like okay. I mean, most of us can't even spot the difference between white and off-white.
He and I have a dispute about this.
Yeah. And then after that is natural wood stains and then grays. So, those are like our big colors right now. Clayton County shared out that there's some emergency rental assistance. There's still a lot of landlord assistance out there that's not being taken advantage of. And so if you do have clients in Clayton County, you can do that. But also the whole Georgia rental assistance.ga.gov, that works for the entire state. Also, they had all these millions of dollars appropriated out for these funds, and it is like only, I think it's like 16 or 20% of the funds have actually been used. And if we don't use them, they're going to get taken. So if you do have tenants, landlords that are having issues, let's take advantage of that. We'll wrap up here. So we have a lot of CE this week. So, like today, I'm teaching here in the McDonough office, the Ultimate Buyer System. Tomorrow, we have our monthly sales meeting. It's live in all of our offices as well as virtual. Also, there's a secrets to success with buyers in today's market. There's a virtual class tomorrow. On Wednesday, I'm back here teaching Ultimate Listing System. So that'll be live in the McDonough office. Also on Wednesday,
I'm teaching 2022 guard contract, that section. So a lot of us, especially the new agents, if you don't understand contract, take a class.
So
with
that
me.
she's going to be teaching that at the MSAR office up in Jonesboro on Wednesday. Also on Thursday, she's going to be teaching it again.
In Fayetteville.
So that will
So
be live
if you
in
make an
Fayetteville.
MSAR and not member of MSAR, I encourage you to come to our Fayetteville office and you'll see me there and we'll talk about
And
it.
if you haven't got enough of me, you can see her back in McDonough on Friday, and
He's
she'll
got
be
me
going.
booked.
I'm keeping her busy because I don't want her being bored. So
Yes, I'm always bored.
that was my word. So thanks, guys. I hope you guys have a wonderful week. If we can be any service, please call, text, smoke signals. Have a good one.
Thank you. Happy Monday.